lights on. What's up, people? What's going on, guys? Let me turn my other lights on because this is kind of dark. Boom, that'll be helpful. Flip that around. What's up, Martha? What happened to me yesterday, Jeremiah? The computer would not stop doing the flickering with the camera. It was just crazy. So I'm back on the iPhone right now. What's up, Tim? I won't be on too long, guys. Super Bowl's coming up soon. It's going to be a fun game. What's up, Leon? You guys hear me good, right? The levels are good? Because I'm using this wireless mic again with the iPhone. So I want to make sure it sounds all right. Yep. All right, awesome. All right, so let me explain to you guys what happened, right? I got to tell you this story just to start off. Peep stories. It's okay. You guys can watch it later. It won't be a long one, Santos. I figured I'd jump on before the Super Bowl starts. So whoever wants to watch now could watch now. Whoever wants to watch later could watch later. But I got a little bit of time before the game, and I'm ready to go for the game, so I'm good. I'm a little hot. I just opened the window. I was carrying a bunch of heavy stuff. But I want to jump on real quick. So you guys that saw me yesterday try to go live, and the screen kept tearing because the webcam just kept tearing when I was trying to go live on YouTube. I was on this laptop that I bought, right? And basically the laptop was crazy expensive, but I needed a mobile solution because I have these other channels I want to start doing, and I needed to be able to edit some video and be able to actually, connect well, quick, do stuff fast. So I wanted this laptop, and it was I did a lot of research to get it. I'm sure it was just defective, honestly. It was the Asus ZenBook Pro Duo. And you guys that have been following what I planning to do is try to do everything in 4K. So I'm working towards building towards that. So that had a 4K OLED display. It was like a 15.6 inch screen, but it also had this secondary screen, which was like half the keyboard on the bottom, which is great for video editing. You can put your timeline down there, and you can, keep the screen on top. Now, you guys know I don't like to edit too much on videos. I like to show you guys, straight stuff, but there's certain things you have to edit. Like, it doesn't really require me to edit on this channel so much, but if I vlog or I do some stuff to do with cars or anything about like me going around throughout the day, you're going to get a lot of footage. It's just not necessary. So you got to edit that stuff out. So for that purpose, I wanted that laptop so I could drive around, use the laptop, get it all set up, and then be able to just upload it straight to YouTube after it was done. So anyway, that's an expensive laptop. It's like $3,000, right? But it's got like an i9 processor in it, a laptop version, but the highest one. It's 8-core, 16-thread processor, had 32 gigs of RAM in it, dual 4K displays. Well, one 4K display on top, 15.6 inch, and like half a 4K display on the bottom. So it's very, very expensive, right? But it was kind of revolutionary. And if you look on YouTube, there's a lot of guys, MKBHD talked about it, a bunch of guys did. Linus Tech Tips had one, and everybody loved it. And I loved it initially. I was setting everything up, trying to get the streaming software on there to see how it would work to stream to you guys. But as soon as I plugged the webcam in, it just could not do it. And then I tried, they have a 720p webcam built in. I tried to use that one instead. It was still tearing on the screen. And then I have a 1080p webcam. I tried that one, and that's USB plug-in. But now the one that's on the laptop itself, it says it's a USB 2 interface. So it's plugged into the motherboard of that laptop via USB as well. But the external ones are USB, they're USB 3 ports, which should be no problem. They're 3.1 ports and Gen 2 ports at that. No problem to handle a 1080p or a 4K webcam. But I plugged them in. All three webcams, the built-in one, my 1080p, and my 4K were tearing. So I called Asus and I said, well, actually, no. There's a program on the laptop that, TJ, thank you for joining the channel. I appreciate it, my man. Hi, Atesh. He says, I like your new look. I'm probably going to have to shave this. I didn't get a chance today because I went back to Micro Center. I bought that laptop at Micro Center, by the way. If you guys live near a Micro Center, it's awesome. You can go there in person, check out so much stuff, and their prices are super competitive even online. They're not everywhere, but there's two of them in New York City. One's in Queens, one's in Brooklyn. There's one in Nassau County, Long Island, and one in Yonkers, which are all pretty close to the city too. So I'm kind of lucky that there's four pretty much near me, but if you go to microcenter.com, you can see if there happens to be one not too far from you. I would highly recommend, like if you're considering any kind of big purchase for a computer, go there first because they probably have it on display. You get to play with it, check it out, and the people in there are awesome. And no, it's not a paid endorsement. I just go there and give them my money, so they didn't give me anything. But anyway, so on the Asus laptop, there's a program called My Asus. So I click on that, and you can chat with somebody, right, on there. And so I go and I try to chat with this guy and tell him what the problem is. And he tells me, what you need to do is uninstall the internal webcam from the laptop and then reinstall it so that we'll get you a new driver. I said, you don't understand, that's not going to do anything because it doesn't work on my other two webcams, and I have all the drivers because I just installed them for those webcams, and it only does it to webcams. So it's only doing it through the USB interface. Everything else was smooth, silky, perfect. Nobody else complained about this in a review that I saw, so I'm guessing I just got a defective one. However, it was the only one Micro Center had. So there was no way for me to exchange it. And then I just said, you know what? There's no other laptop that makes this much function for me right now. I'm going to wait on the laptop. So I was going to return it, but I said, well, my desktop's not working, right? So let me take a look at desktops and see what I could get. But I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. We'll pick up that story from there. But the guy basically through chat had no idea what he was talking about and actually told me, if you can't do these things that I'm asking you to do, then I can't help you. And I said, all right, cool. Do you guys have a phone number then that I could call so I could speak to somebody on the phone? Because he was literally telling me to reboot the computer. Meanwhile, I'm chatting to him on the computer. I'm like, we're going to lose our chat session, and then what? He's like, yes, you will lose the chat session, but it will fix your camera. I said, it's not going to fix my camera. So I said, give me the phone number. So I got off with him after he gave me the phone number. And I was nice to him anyway, even though I knew, and I did it. What he said to do, I did it right after. Didn't do anything. Just to be like, I already did it because I was going to call someone on the phone in case they told me to do the same thing. What's up, Sound Chaser? So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So I did it. Then I call someone on the phone, right? And they pick, I got to go through all the menus and blah, blah, blah. Press 1, press 3, which wasn't that bad. I think I had to basically just press 2 buttons. It was like 1 and then 3 or something for what I needed. So that's different, Jeremiah. That's when you're doing it through YouTube mobile, it won't let you. You got to do it from an actual desktop computer to do stuff like that. So like I'm on YouTube mobile right now with the iPhone, it'll only stream 720p. That's just the way it works. It won't let me change that setting. But when you're on a computer, you can do whatever you want. You could even do 8K if you could do it. But anyway, so I eventually, I press 2 buttons. I get on the phone with a guy and I tell him the problem. First of all, I have to give him the serial number, give him my name first and last, spell it out for him, spell out the serial. I was doing Victor Bravo, like, because if I just said it, he was getting it wrong. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I took like 5 minutes to give him all the info he wanted. And then he tells me, what's the problem? I explain it to him. He tells me, okay, hang on. Hold on. I'm going to go and I'm going to look up your info and I'll come back on the line. I said, all right, fine. Puts me on hold. 5 minutes, I'm on hold. Okay. And then after 5 minutes, the phone starts ringing in my ear and it sends me to the survey for how I thought this call went. You know, was I satisfied or dissatisfied with the service from the call? I'm like, are you serious? I've been on the hold for 5 minutes to get this. So I actually took the survey and gave it all bad ratings. And then I called back and I got another guy on the phone. So I had to repeat all that info to him because I never got a case number. The guy didn't give me that or anything before he put me on hold. I had to repeat all that info to him. And then he says, okay, I'm going to send you a chipset driver in an email and I want you to install it and let's see what happens. I said, okay, fine. So he sends me the chipset driver. I go and I try to install it. It doesn't do anything. I'm hitting the EXE. It's not doing anything. Then I look at it and I can see the number on the driver and I look in the system and it's the same number that's in the system. I said, it's already installed. That's why it's not doing anything. He goes, oh, you already have it. Okay. So he tells me, why don't you go ahead and unplug the power from the computer and hold down the power button for 60 seconds. Like, you know, shut it down, then hold the power button down for 60 seconds. I said, okay. So I know what he wants me to do. I get it. He wants me to, you know, release the electric static. It basically kind of reset. That's like their reset of the motherboard at that point. 60-second hold will, it's almost like a clear CMOS or whatever, you know. So that's what I did. And I get it to turn back on and he says, all right, try the webcam. So the computer is not plugged in, right? So I go ahead and I try the webcam and the internal webcam seems to be working for like 2 minutes. And he's like, okay, so I'm gonna hang up now. You're good, right? I'm like, no, I'm not good yet. Just hang on a minute. I said, I'm gonna switch to my 4K webcam and see what happens. And I plug in the 4K webcam, seems okay. I said, all right. I said, let me plug the power back in. I plug the power back in, starts tearing. Now, mind you, the battery's not gonna last that long in this thing. I can't stream to you guys from it with the battery because it's got two 4K screens. It's a really powerful computer with a powerful chip in it. The battery, at best, in that scenario, is going to last me like an hour and a half, at best, with no power. So I'm like, okay, so I plug it in, it starts tearing, and I said, maybe there was some truth to the whole, you know, it's too close to the power, yada, 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 when I was streaming yesterday. So I moved the stuff to the other side. So one side of the laptop has the USB, the other side has the power cable in. I do the whole CMOS reset again, start it up. With the power cable in, it's fine. Even with the startup after, so I'm like, okay, this is working. Then I switch it to battery power. It starts giving me a black line across the screen of tearing now. It was totally different than what I had online. I'm like, no, there's something wrong with the power delivery through USB on this computer. Something's not right with it. So I went and tried to look for USB host controller updates for firmware, anything I could find to deal with the USB system. There was nothing. They had nothing for me on the phone for that at all either. And the guy basically said, well, you'd have to send this computer to us for repair and we'll send it back to you. I said, I can't do that. I just bought this computer. I'm going to return it to the store. There's no reason for me to send you a laptop and be without a laptop, especially one this expensive, for all this time, for however long it takes for you to tear it apart, and then you're going to send a brand new laptop back to me that you already ripped open and put back together. I was like, I could just return it. You say, okay, fine, return it to the store then. I said, all right, I will. And then we hung up, and that was it. So I wiped it all out, put it back in the box, and I went back to Micro Center this morning. So I started looking at desktops, right? When this all happened, I said, you know, I don't want any of the other laptops out now because there's nothing intuitive enough to make it worth it yet. I think there'll be more 1.5 ones coming out in 2020. But also, I'm never going to find the desktop that I want to build, right? By buying it pre-built pretty much. So I was kind of like, maybe I should just get my money back and do nothing with it for now. But at the same time, I can't stream. I took everything out of here. I checked on thermal paste yesterday too. Everything was fine, but I still wiped it, put new thermal paste in the old computer, put everything that it doesn't make a difference. I think there's a short in the motherboard. That's the only explanation that I could see. And when a certain power level gets drawn to it, it shorts out and reboots the system. And it immediately goes back below that power level at that point and starts back up. So I don't think there's really any hope for this machine right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to need more than one computer eventually anyway, if things go the way it goes. And if I don't, I can sell one. That's my plan. So not this one, because this one's shot. But now that I'm no longer going to be using the old one that I was using, what's up, Carl? I will be basically ripping it apart. And I'll show it to you guys when I rip it apart. And you'll see how small it is and how unupgradable it is. What's up, Storm? So what did I decide to do? I said, let me take a look at at desktops around the same price as the laptop, because I'm not really spending any more money. I would just be exchanging, and I'll see if I can get something that I like for now and I can have a use for later. And that's what I ended up doing. So at first I started looking at at desktops that were exactly the same price as the laptop, and I was like, geez, I could get an i9 9900K and a 2080 Ti graphics card for $3,000 in a computer. Problem is, when you start looking online at all those computers, they're like the Alienware Aurora R8, R9, the HP Omen. They're really small computers, right? So I'm looking at them online. I'm going, the heat in these things must be awful with those specs. No matter what you do, there's no way to adequately cool these tiny little computers. Mark, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, my man. So I wanted to kind of educate you guys about that a bit. When you go to look to buy computers, if you're buying a pre-built instead of building one, really small chassis like the ones I have here. I could show you this one, right? Excuse the semi-mess, but this is my Alienware. Excuse all this mess. I was taking it apart and unplugging and replugging everything, but it's basically the size of an Xbox, all right? This is the Alienware R51, the third revision, which was the final one they made. And it served me well for a long time. Mark says you need to clean. Yeah, it's just because I had a big mess going on here. I was trying to fix this computer. It's broken. So I was messing around with lots of plugs and trying everything. But it's about the size of an Xbox One, like the Xbox One X. A little bit different shape, but similar size. You can see it's very thin on top. All right. Yeah, here's the Xbox One X actually right next to it, if you want to see that. It's a little bigger, but there's the Xbox One X standing up right next to the computer. So they're not like tremendously different in size. It's a bit bigger, but it's a very thin PC. And because of its thinness, it's very non-upgradable. Also, what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these manufacturers like Dell and HP, they use kind of proprietary motherboards like that you'll see, and those things are really difficult because if you want to upgrade something later, there's certain limitations, and you get stuck with their BIOS, which they could limit. Like I was looking up the Alienware Aurora R9, right? And I think it's a pretty cool looking, like space age looking computer. And it had an Intel i9 9900K, RTX 2080 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM, but the RAM was like 2400 speed. And I was like, why is the speed so slow on this RAM if we got all those specs on it? So I said, let me try to take a closer look. So I went to their community, like the Alienware community, and they started saying like, this chassis is too small. These guys are jerry-rigging the chassis to try to like cool the graphics card. It has a blower style 2080 Ti, which basically sucks air in and pushes it out the back of the case. Because the case is too small for it to have fans blowing air in there, it's just going to be blowing hot air and it's going to heat everything up. So it's a problem, especially with a 2080 Ti and an i9 9900K. You're going to generate tons of heat. And there were a lot of people saying that there was no way, even though the BIOS would allow them to overclock the graphics card and the processor, couldn't do it. So everybody's talking about Asus. Yeah, Asus is great, guys. Like, I just had a bonked PC. That's what it is. Luckily, Micro Center just gives you 15 days, no questions asked, to make returns and or exchanges. So that's what I did. But yeah, basically, I started looking at the limitations. I'm like, getting these things for so cheap, what graphics card is it actually? Which manufacturer makes it? And then I realized that this is a card that only fits in this machine, and it's a 2080 Ti blower that basically, and almost any other 2080 Ti you want to get, you can't get because the chassis is too small. Even the power supply has a hinge. So you take off the side door, like imagine if this is the case, right? You pull the side door off so you can see the whole inside. On the top side right here is the power supply in the case right there, and you'd have to grab it and swing it out to get to like the top portion of the motherboard. So underneath there is where you'll find the CPU socket and everything. So even if and that's at the rear of the case, right? Right up here. Now at the front of the case, There's only one fan on the bottom, blowing air towards the graphics card. There's nothing up here where this power, and power supplies make heat too. You know what I mean? There's nothing up there, and it's right above the CPU. In the front of the case up here is a 3.5-inch hard drive tray. There's no fan. So there's literally nothing up here. All you have is the CPU has a water cooler. It's a 120 millimeter, very small water cooler that's out the top, and that's the only exhaust from the top. There's no way the air is going to travel well around that whole PSU stuck in there and go out the top. There's no fan in the back either. I'm like, the only fan in the back is the blower. So you're getting cool air from the bottom fan going in, and then getting sucked up into the graphics card and blown out the back. And in theory, that sounds good. But in such a small chassis with such a small fan, not a great idea if you're really trying to push power. It's cool, don't get me wrong. You could buy that computer if you're not going to try crazy 4K gaming, if you're not going to do, like I want to use it even right now. Like I want to be able to bring you guys the Shield in 4K. I can do that now. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Shield has 4K, I can get it through there. So I can show you guys kind of different stuff about settings and things like that too. So there's a lot of uses for being able to stream in 4K. You got your gaming, you got just the idea of things looking really good in general. Shield stuff in 4K. By the way, you guys can download the Fox Sports 1 app today before the Super Bowl starts, and you can make an account with Fox Sports for free. And you can do that on the Shield, on the Fire Stick 4K, and they are playing the game in 4K through that app, and it's free. So I would suggest you guys do that, even if you have services and whatever. Just if you want to use your service, there's some services with 4K feeds running too. Go ahead, but have that there and ready. And if it looks better than your service, use that. So it's in everybody's app store. It's in the Amazon app store. It's in the Shield app store. It's in any Android box's app store. It's the Fox Sports 1 app or Fox Sports app. It's Fox Sports app, not Fox Sports 1. There's other ones too. NFL is streaming it on the NFL app. There's so many ways to watch it for free, guys. So get ready for the Super Bowl with as many options as you can. Why not? So this is what I ended up doing. Sorry, I've been rambling a little bit back and forth. But what I ended up doing was looking at these things and saying, okay, what I want to build is a AMD 3950X processor with a 2080 Ti graphics card. That's the computer I'm going to build, and I'll leave it available to make a NVLink setup if I have to. But I think it'll be fine that way. And basically, nobody had the AMD processor in there that I wanted anyway. And the reason I want that processor is because I will stream at the same time as gaming, or stream at the same time as bringing all these graphics in like I bring in, and doing that in 4K eats up resources. So the AMD processor, the 3950X, that has 16 cores and 32 threads in it, and it fits right into a PCI Express Gen 4 motherboard as well. Which gives you really fast storage. So that's like my future build. Even the 9900K is still stuck on PCI Express Gen 3. I'd imagine the next board Intel makes should have Gen 4, but the cores having all those cores is better for video editing, better for photo editing, better for streaming while gaming, it's just better for a lot of things. And when all the benchmarks came in, it was basically just about the same as a 9900K. But yet it has 16 cores and 32 threads, which is amazing. Like the difference in gaming performance at 1440p and 4K was really, really minimal. You would never notice it. And the difference on stress tests was really, really minimal. At 1080p, there was a slight bit of an advantage brought back to the 9900K because that becomes a lot more CPU intensive at 1080 than just relying on the graphics card. But in almost any workload, you're going to wind up with better performance with more cores in your processor. So I said, all right, I want an AMD, processor. So that's my thought process in building the big build that I'm going to build, and I'm still going to build it. But I decided, I had the choice. I'm going to return this laptop. It cost me $3,000. And I am either going to get my money back, or I'm going to pick up a desktop that I can use and take a lot of pressure off on getting the other desktop built, right? I still want to build it, and I'm still going to show you how to build it, but I ran into these problems looking at the desktops. Like I said, the small chassis, the proprietary motherboards, can't upgrade this. I learned that Dell took away the option to overclock the RAM even in their BIOS on that Alienware. So I'm like, all right, you know, these kind of things are very restrictive to me. What's up, RB? Happy Super Bowl Sunday to you too. And if I missed anybody, what's up, guys? Sorry, I was just rambling there, but you know, trying to get this story out. So I didn't want these limitations. So I said, what can I do? Let me just, you know, go to Micro Center and see what I find. One of the things I saw on Micro Center's website was an i9-9900K with a 2080 Ti. It was on sale. It was a water-cooled PC, but a custom water-cool. It looked really nice. And it's made from this company named Maingear. And I looked up Maingear because I didn't really know too much about them for PCs at all. They're a PC boutique. So they're not like HP or Dell, or they're main, you know, they're known in cars. They've done a lot of stuff for cars, customizing cars, paint in cars, you know, a lot of things like that. But now they're making some PC, they started making PC cases, and then they started building some custom PCs. So they have this one, it's called Maingear, man, now I forgot what it's called exactly, hold on. It's, let me get it real quick. Maingear Vibe, right? So this one is I'll show it to you. It's the Vibe 1, it's called. And you can see that, I mean, it's hard to really see that good here, but it's totally custom water cooled. The graphics card, though, is sitting right up against the glass in a vertical position. I don't know how well this is going to focus on this, but it's in a vertical position there, which is cutting off your PCI Express slots, which I need in order to plug in capture cards for 4K so I can like pull in the Xbox, pull in the Shield, things like that. So I'm like, I can't use this because that's a whole custom loop water cooling system, but it's exactly $3,000. I could have just swapped out my laptop for that. And I was like, you know, that basically has almost everything I would want. I would just need some, you know, some accessories and whatever. But basically this thing is, sorry guys, hang on. It's really driving me crazy. That's a little crooked. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. So I'm looking at this, but I can't see the motherboard. I can't tell, you know, what it looks like, what it's made of. This is kind of a cooler version of the side shot though. So it's all like RGB, and that's all water running through there. Problem with this is it's a custom water loop, so I can't even take the graphics card out and put it the other way. These are all acrylic and hand cut. These guys at Maingear cut out and create all this stuff themselves, which is pretty cool. Like, it's their own solution. But because of the way that all the pipes are cut for the water to go through, I can't change that layout. And with the graphics card stuck going up and down, it's covering all the PCI slots that I would need to plug in other things, right? Oh, Water Bear is asking somebody. I can't do that because I'm on a phone, but just go to microcenter.com, okay? This one only goes to Micro Center. Or Google Maingear computers. You can have them build you a custom one, but Micro Center has ones already built, and they just need the fluid to be filled. So when you buy the computer, Micro Center will fill the fluid for you, and you take it home. But it's microcenter.com, and then search Maingear on Micro Center site, and you'll see the computers. So this one anyway is called Maingear Vibe 1, but it's normally $3,500. It's on sale, $500 off for $3,000. So I'm like, oh, same exact price as a laptop. I could just swap. Maybe I'll do that. And then I'm like, well, let me keep taking a look though, because I can't really see this computer yet. I haven't gone to Micro Center yet. So I just went to Micro Center, and it was basically the Alienware Aurora R9. There was an HP Omen, this Maingear, and there was one other computer, which I think was iBuyPower one, which had i9-9900Ks and 2080 Ti's, but they were all just about $3,000. None of them were over $3,000. The Alienware was exactly $3,000, and the Maingear was exactly $3,000. The other two are slightly cheaper. But one thing or another about all these pre-builts didn't work for me. The Maingear one didn't work because of the up and down, but I didn't know until I got to Micro Center. I still wanted to look at it. And I looked at it and I could see that it had an actual motherboard. These guys, because they're a boutique maker, they're buying a motherboard and they're putting it in there themselves. So it's basically almost the same as you building one, except they build it for you. And the prices are not that crazy compared to like Dell or HP, who give you a crappy motherboard that's proprietary to them that you can't really do anything with. And in the case of like this Alienware that I showed you guys a minute ago, this board is not even a standard size board of any kind and will not fit in another chassis. I can't take it out of here. I've been dealing with this for 5 years. Whatever problems I've had with it, I've had to just fix within there. And everything I've had to buy for it, aside from the RAM, I had to buy from Dell because the graphics card replacements were custom sized. It was a royal pain, unless you wanted to like Dremel the chassis and do all kinds of stuff. And that was what people were doing with the Aurora R9 as well. The one I was looking at possibly buying. They were Dremeling the bottom of the chassis out and fitting radiators down there with fans to make water-cooled loops like for their GPUs so that they didn't have to keep doing the blower style GPU. It was crazy. I don't want to do all that. I want to build the one that I want myself and I won't have to do all that. But can I get something now that works for now and I'm not going to hate having around and that would have resale value, or I could upgrade to something else later that's flexible? I don't know. So I go to Micro Center. I said, let me just see what's in the store. And they had all those computers I talked about, right? And they were all just terrible. The HP Omen was a horrible chassis design, terrible cooling. Same thing with the Alienware. Don't get me wrong. You can buy these machines if you want, and if you just stick them on a desk in a well-ventilated room and you're not trying to kill them or game with them, like hard or overclock anything, it'll probably run okay. You're going to get good stuff. It'll be fine. But if you're trying to game and stream and you want to overclock stuff to get even better FPS, no, don't do it. You're also, like I said, you're stuck with their specific graphics card. In the case of Dell, like you could only buy that graphics card from them. There was no other graphics card that I found that was a 2080 Ti yet that was short enough to fit in that chassis. There were people that tried modifying fans and all kinds of stuff, adding different fans in. They also say they're super loud because the fans have to go so heavy because the ventilation is so bad. And that's not cool. You don't want to sit next to the thing and it's like the whole time while you're online or gaming, or if I'm streaming, that would be awful. So I just said, let me take a look. If I don't like any of these things, I'm just going to keep going the iPhone route for now and save up as fast as I can and get the new computer that I want to build and build it for you guys, on the channel. So I ended up walking in there, talking to a really nice guy. That's another thing I've noticed too. I spoke to like 3 guys for different things today. Their guys in there are really good. They're knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. I haven't run into someone that, sometimes you go to a store and you ask someone something and it's the wrong answer and you're just like, all right, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. I never get that vibe in Micro Center. These guys are cool, from everyone I've spoken to anyway. So I walk in, I talk to this guy, I said, listen, I don't want these proprietary boards. I don't want this or that. And he said, well, there's not too much. They make their own computer. I can't remember the name of it, but they build them in-house and they use parts, real parts, and they build it and then they sell it. So like they have build stations in their store and they have guys that are hired to build them. So it's pretty cool. Like even if you go in there and you pick your own parts, they'll build it for you if you pay them. So it's a pretty cool place. You know what I mean? Like I like it. Anyway, he says, we do a few, and he showed me them, but the specs weren't really that good. And I'm like, they were appropriately priced though. Like they compete with everybody for what they were, but it wasn't really exactly what I was looking for. I didn't know what I was looking for, but it just didn't strike me. I didn't, certain things I didn't like about it. So I turn around and I see this one computer sitting there that wasn't online when I'm looking. And I'm like, what is this? It also had a vertical GPU, but it wasn't water cooled. And I looked at it and it says Maingear, right? Vibe 2. So it's the second one, right? Now I'm like, well, let me check this out. What's in this thing? And it has a RTX 2080 Super, which is the card right below the card I want to put in my build. Still an excellent card for graphics. And it had a Ryzen 3rd gen, the 3900X, which is one step below the processor I want in my build. So I'm like, both of these things are like one step below what I want. And then I stick my face up in there and I can see that it has the Asus ROG Tai Chi motherboard. And I'm like, oh, a real motherboard. Okay. And it's not custom water cooled. The GPU is vertical, but if it's not custom water cooled, I can just make it horizontal again. Not a problem. And I said, well, how much is this? So it doesn't have quite the same specs, right? And he goes, oh, I don't think we have that in stock. I said, I'll take the floor model if you don't have it in stock, if the price is right, if it's even cheaper. And he says, let me take a look. And whatever, he starts looking in the computer. He goes, oh, I do have one in stock. And so I did my due diligence and I looked up the graphics card that was in there as well, like just the brand of it. And they're using a Zotac graphics card in it, which is fine. And it's actually slightly clocked higher than I forgot what it's called now, but it has a slightly higher clock than the reference clock. It's a Zotac gaming card for the 2080 Super. And that computer was on sale. I don't remember. They do sell the cases too. See, it's still not even on the computer. I'm trying to see if I could find it. I don't remember the original price, but it was on sale for $2,500, right? So I said, it's got a brand new processor that just came out. The motherboard is PCI Express Gen 4, and it's a legit motherboard. And I looked up the board. It costs like $250 or $300, somewhere in that range, depending on where you buy it from. It's not a cheap motherboard either. It's not the highest end motherboard, but I think it's $250. That's a pretty good motherboard, like that's in there. You know what I mean? And so I'm looking at it, and I'm even pricing these components out myself. Like a 2080 Super is like $800. The processor's like close to $500. The motherboard's like $250. And then there's an AIO from Cooler Master over the processor, and it's a 240 millimeter AIO, which is a really nice AIO, and it's I think that one was like $130, and it's got good RAM in there. I think it was Neo RAM, the G Skills. It was at 3200, but there was 32 gigs of it in there. So Ryzen 3 is good at 3200 to 3600 speed, basically, if you don't want to mess around too much. So, but I said 32 gigs at 3200, that's fine. That's good for now. You know, like if I want to upgrade it to 64 gigs later and go to 3600, I could do that. But that's my plan, what I want to do for the build machine anyway. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to return this laptop. I'm going to have $500 to spend and get this computer. And I'm going to be able to stream to you guys better than I've ever streamed right now. Be able to start tinkering with stuff and figuring out the 4K stuff with this machine. Is good enough for that. Like I can start messing with it at maybe 30 frames per second, something like that, seeing what can happen. So I'm going to buy this computer. And then by the time I have the money to build the big one, I'll pretty much have everything down packed 100%, maybe some ins and outs of the 4K stuff because I haven't done it yet. I might find some things that are funky and be able to fix them ahead of time so I could, be ready to go completely 100%. And in the meantime, 1080p will be a cakewalk. It won't even stress anything. So I'm going to do that. So I said, that's what I want to do. So he brought me the computer, put it in a cart, and I said, I got $500 to spend. Let me walk around the store and see what I could do. So without ado, I'm going to show you the things that I bought for $500 real quick, which are in this bag. Yeah, it is dual channel RAM, S. The first thing that I got was this Elgato 4K 60 Pro. All right, this is what's going to allow me to plug in the Xbox, the Shield into the computer and, you know, get it running. Did you buy a duster for the room? Like I said, I haven't been in this room for 3 months, and then I tried to fix this computer, and that's why it's so messy right now. But yeah, I'll clean it up, don't worry. So anyway, right, this capture card is pretty much considered one of the best out there for 4K. You can actually do 4K at 60 frames per second with HDR, right? So if you see it here, it needs to connect to a PCI Express slot though. It needs at least a PCI Express 4 slot, right? So I can put it into that computer I saw and I wanted to get. I just need to take the graphics card away from being vertical, which I'll show you in a minute, and switch it to horizontal, which is not a problem for me to do that because it's not custom water cooled and I don't have to drain a bunch of fluid out and refill it and be careful to do so. So I got this. This is normally $250, so that would have been half my $500 basically budget right there, except this was on sale for $220 today. So save 30 bucks. Awesome. So spend the $220, get that. My old graphics card in here, which is a GTX 970, which I actually had to pay for an upgrade to from Dell, only has micro, what do you call it? Micro DisplayPort outs, right? So I have these micro DisplayPort to DisplayPort cables for the Samsung monitors that I showed you guys that I got connected to it. However, the Samsung monitors only have full DisplayPort cables, and they only came with HDMI cables. Now the 2080 Super graphics card only has one HDMI port. So I could do one HDMI no problem, and the other two would have to be DisplayPort cables. So I went and I got DisplayPort cables, full size ones, that are rated for 4K Ultra HD no problem. And these were 18 bucks for a 6-foot cable, which really isn't that bad. You'd pay somewhere in the vicinity of that on Amazon. I got a 1/2 foot extension cable for one, the monitor that would be closest to the computer. I got a 3-foot one for the monitor. No, that would be for the monitor furthest away in case the 6-foot's not long enough. 3-foot one for the closest monitor to the computer, and another 6-foot one for the center monitor. So the 6-foot cables were 18 bucks, which is totally fair price. The 3-foot cable was 15 bucks. And really nice cables. Again, anything doesn't work, 15 days to return, no questions asked. Now, I realized that the Samsung may have come with a full-size DisplayPort, and I couldn't remember, but I knew I couldn't use it, so I might have chucked it somewhere. So I'm not going to do anything with these just yet. I'm going to go see if the Samsungs have a full-size DisplayPort cable. If they do, I will get my money back and get something else instead of using these. But I wanted to be ready in case it didn't come with it. The other thing that I got was a 2 terabyte Samsung 2.5 SSD that uses the SATA version, right? So this is the 860 QVO. It's not the best one, but I don't care. I'm just going to use it for storage because the primary drive that comes in there is a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, which is very fast, that has Windows on it. And I don't know which one it is because it's already in there. What's up, Roy? But here's 2 terabytes of storage right here. But I realized looking at the case, it only has 3.5-inch expansion bays. These are 2.5-inch drives. So I needed one of these bad boys, which is an adapter for a 3.5 to 2.5 inch. And it even comes with the cables, guys. You have your SATA data and power cables, and it has a Y cable in case you don't have enough power connectors that you could just split them. So these cables come in here. $10 for this. That's awesome to give you the cables and the bracket to make the the adapter go from 3.5 to 2.5 without your stuff just sliding around all over the place, and give you the cables. That's pretty nice. So I got 2 of those because there's two expansion bays, but I'm only going to use 1 right now. I might use 2 because I have a 7200 RPM drive in this. I might take it out and put it in the 3.5-inch bay. So if I did that, I wouldn't need this. Or it might be a 2.5-inch drive. I don't know because that's a really small case. I think it is a 2.5-inch drive. If it is, I will need this. So I got 2 of those at 10 bucks a piece. And last but not least, this was massively discounted It is a 2 terabyte NVMe SSD, all right? And it has IOPS for 460K read, 450K write. It's rated for 1,800,000 hours. It has 1,500 G shock resistance. And the total wear rating is 3,200 terabytes, which means you could overwrite this thing 1,600 times in completion before it's expected to die, which is pretty damn awesome. But if you look at this, it is from a company called Inland, all right? Now, Inland is actually Micro Center's company. Now, on here, it says it's $314.99, which would be on par with a lot of other SSDs that are 2 terabytes NVMe's. But this has been there for a long time already, for quite a while. And this only ended up costing $199, I believe. So I went a little over. I paid them a small amount of money, but it wasn't much. So, but it was really close. Like, I ended up quite close to hitting the target mark. And that's everything that I got. So these things will be going into, let me show you guys the computer. All right, I haven't even opened it yet, so I'm gonna unbox it so you can see it. But it's all put together already, so it shouldn't be anything crazy. But I do have to, again, take apart the graphics card, but I won't do that now because it's Super Bowl Sunday. But I'll show you what I mean when I say I gotta move it. All right, so you guys can see this. I will pull it. How can I do this? Let me move this thing. It's cool that you guys can hear me the same no matter where I am. But let's go ahead and slide this down to the floor so you guys can see that clearly now. And I'm gonna come down on the floor with you guys. Hello. So this is the box it comes in. And I can tell you right now, I can pull it forward if you want to see it. All right. So Maingear Vibe motherboard, ASRock X570 Tai Chi. So this is the newest generation motherboard. CPU Ryzen 9 3900X. Memory 32 gigs, 4 times 8 gig sticks, DDR4 3200. It's got a 1 terabyte NVMe M2 SSD. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Super. Power supply is a 750 watt, 80 plus rated power supply. It doesn't say gold or whatever, so I don't, but it's 80 plus, which means it's okay. At least it's, rated. Cooling has a 240 meter AIO liquid cooler. It's got Wi-Fi 6 in it too, with Bluetooth 5 from Intel. And the chassis is made by Maingear. It's the Vibe MKV. And the operating system is Windows 10 Pro. So you're even getting the Pro with that. So this is a pretty awesome computer. And it was $2,500. So I think that this is very fair for what you get at $2,500. Honestly, you're getting full size everything, full upgradability on everything. And they have much cheaper computers too, like other versions that you could get. They have stuff with like 2060 Supers, 2070 Supers. I don't know if they have all of those. I saw some of those on their website, on Maingear's website. I don't know exactly what they have in, like I said, when I went online in Micro Center, they didn't even have this one online when I was on there. It's apparently on there now, but they didn't have it on there when I was looking at it. So, that's that. But I'm going to open it up and see how well Maingear packages this stuff. All right. It looks good from the outside. Even when you push your hand in here to pick it up, it has foam right under the handle. It's comfortable, and there's a handle on both sides. So it looks sturdy. I don't hear anything in here, but this is a company that's not that well known for computers as of yet, because like I said, they're a boutique company. But I love the fact that they give you real motherboards and all real parts, and they assemble it themselves. So the top has it's kind of a little cheesy. I don't know if I can show you this that easily, but there's like multiple tapes just on there. So you guys could probably tape that a little neater. It makes me feel like it was opened and reboxed, but I was assured that it was not a reboxing at all, that it's completely brand new. So I'm gonna flip it around, just take off the tape on the other side. But apparently that's just how they ship them. So it's just like, whatever, it's secure. It's just, kind of the way that it looks, it makes it look like maybe it was open, you know? Let's just open this up real fast. I'll show you guys what it looks like once the top is open. Now, this is cool. Let me show you this. I'll slide this forward. I'm checking this out for the first time with you guys. How to easily remove your new Maingear. Fold all the flaps. So they're giving you instructions, you know. Read steps 2 and 3 before continuing. Rotate the box 180 degrees so that this side is facing down towards the floor. Pull the box straight up and remove the packing foam. So they want me to flip it upside down and just lift the box. That's what they want me to do. So that means that it should be quite well secured in here because they're telling me to flip the whole thing upside down. All right, so let's do that. I'm gonna fold all the flaps down and I'm gonna first put it on its side very slowly. I would definitely not advise anyone bang doing this around at all. And I'm gonna even put my hand here while I flip it over just to be a little extra careful because I do feel it sliding slightly. So there we go. No problem. And we'll lift. That's what it says to do. That actually worked out quite nicely. Very easy to do. Let's get this box off to the side. And now we're left with foam and a nice little bottom piece there, which is pretty cool to make. That is really awesome. It's got the accessories, but that's a really good placement for it, just in case, you know, for the foam, because you're going to take it out, and if it does fall, that's really pretty slick. So this is the bottom of the case. That's the front. So I'm going to turn it this way, off of here. And now it is standing upright. And let's see what they give you for accessories. If you guys remember, I already had I already bought like new keyboards and stuff not that long ago. And it says, this is pretty cool. It says, Maingear, it's dangerous to go alone, take this. And it just says accessories. And when you open this box, there's a thank you inside. That's nice. You ain't gonna see that from Dell or anybody else either. So I'm reserving my judgment. I'm not, I wanna see how this behaves and how it works, but I have pretty good faith that it won't be bad considering it has all actually good parts. Power cable in here. It's even got wrap, like, like you'd expect in a gift bag. Your Wi-Fi antenna for your Wi-Fi 6 adapter. They give you a keychain with their logo. Important stuff. And I can already see in here, check this out. It is the X570 Taichi manual. Pretty sweet. So that they opened this motherboard themselves. They made sure that you got the manual. It says important stuff, keep me safe. It's pretty cool. So we'll put that there. And then you have a, let's get started. And it's giving you 6 steps on what to do. And they give you a Windows 10 recovery, media creation, and recovery instructions. So how to create a USB drive if you need to do so. They put that in there too. So I like this. And then on the bottom of the box, they ask you in return if you are happy to post a picture and tag them at Maingear. The interesting thing is it doesn't really say where. I don't know if they have I'm sure they probably have a Twitter, so maybe that's what they mean. Or they could have an Instagram and you could tag them there. But I'm going to tag them good or bad when I'm done with all this. And we'll see. But it's a nice, neat little box. So the computer comes with practically nothing, extra, but it comes with some cute stuff, the little keychain. It comes with whatever the motherboard basically came with. But at this price point, all right, so see, there's a little dust on it, but that comes off very easily, so that's okay. So here's something that's interesting. Let's flip it around. You can see the side of the case. This is a plastic piece, plastic covering that goes over the glass, and it's ripped. And the glass is fine though. Thank goodness the glass is okay. But there is a big scrape right here, if you guys can see that. But the glass looks totally fine, which is good. So let's take the top off here. See graphics card in this orientation. I just want to double check and make sure. Yep, the glass has no scratches, so that is good. Now there is some RGB in here. This is a Cooler Master AIO in the top. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's a radiator, 2 fans blowing out the top as exhaust, which is what it should be doing. And the Cooler Master cooler is in there. Let me get the bottom part out of here. This thing is a little heavy by itself. With not much of a good place to grip. The bottom probably has good grips. Yes, it does, but I can't just get there. All right, that's better. Major plus on this case, airspace. Good amount. Because that means it can breathe. So I'm going to keep this kind of close to you guys. I'll take this plastic off now. I hope it's not too much reflection going on. I'll open the glass so you can see it better. Let's see if I can figure this out. It's got thumb screws on the back portion. I don't feel anything on the bottom. So I'm guessing just these 2 thumb screws. I don't know if they come all the way out or... Oh yeah, they have to. No, they don't have to actually, because this one doesn't want to turn at all. I love this damn screwdriver, this Nest screwdriver. Been using it forever. Fits on everything. There we go. Much looser now. And they do come all the way out. There we go. So let's take that and put it to the side. It'll be a lot easier to see in there when the glass is off. But now I just want to be careful with this. Oh, it slides off real easy. That is a pretty cool thing too. It actually has a guide on the bottom for the glass so that it won't just fall, see? There's a guide right there in the front side here. It'll fall once the guide is out. But now I can lift. And let's carefully put this somewhere where it won't get messed up. And they even have nice cables, black and white. It's a very simple, design, but it's nice. It's really nice. It's nothing too crazy. Black and white cables, nice cable management, honestly. I got nothing to complain about in all seriousness with this. It's pretty clean. Got your 4 RAM sticks here, which I can't tell what they are. Forza sticks. I'm not honestly familiar. I'm not really familiar with Forza. I'm sure I've heard of the name before, but I've never really checked their RAM out too much. But I'd probably change those over to, I thought it was coming with Tridents, but I was wrong. So it's Forza's in there, and there's 32 gigs. It sure is an X570 Tai Chi. Now let me try to show you guys what I mean by this when I say this graphics card eats up all your stuff. So the fact that the graphics card is right here in the front is also kind of stupid because this is going to blow air, right? And right up against the glass case. It's all for looks because, looks-wise, looks pretty cool when it lights up and it turns on and you see the fan spinning, but it's not any better for the card. Most of the time, the card, instead of being, up and down like this, is this way inside. But what they did was they put a little bracket in there, if I can twist it, that's connected right here. That's the cable that goes to the card, and there's a bracket on the bottom here holding it upright, which is whatever, it's fine, but I don't want that. So, and the reason I don't want that is because I want this card to sit in this top slot right there where the cables are going into. And then there's 2 more slots under that. This is only a 2-slot card, so I'll be able to use the other 2 slots under there. And that 4K capture card I showed you guys before, I'll be able to put that into one of those slots. You know, this will be easy to remove. The only thing I'm going to end up with is, because of how this works, let me flip this camera around real quick. So here's your graphics card in this orientation. I'm going to remove this whole bracket, and I'm going to have a big hole here in the back, which I don't really care about. I could get some black mesh and put it there, but it's really just extra airflow, honestly. So I don't really care. It doesn't bother me any. But I'll just put some mesh there so as like a dust filter, and maybe I'll even see if I can custom do a, you know, maybe a fan somehow. I doubt it, unless I use tape. It's too small. But and there's some other card plugged in down here. So something fits there. That's an A slot. I don't know what that is. I mean, it's obviously USB. Maybe that's giving you a Thunderbolt connection. I'm not sure why there's 2 more USBs down here or what they're for. I'm going to have to figure that out too. But normally what would happen is this goes in the top slot and it takes up these 2 spaces like it does here. But it would be here instead. And then you would put your rest of your cards through here. So I have more cards to put in. So I got to do that. But the back of the motherboard is fine too. It's you know, it's nice. It's got a CMOS clear, and a BIOS update. You can update the firmware. So that's pretty awesome too. To have it on the back of the board is awesome. They may be passed through from the front of the case. Yeah, I gotta look at that. I don't really know, but it's plugged into the PCI slot. So I got to check it out and see what that PCI slot is for. It's actually for. So yeah, there's USB-C. You have one on the rear, and there's a USB 3.2 port, full size, and a USB-C on the back over here. And then on the side and the front here, right there, is another USB-C and 3 USB 2.0 ports that are just on the side of the box there. So let me flip this back real quick. I am going to quickly, I don't know what time it is though. I don't want to, what time is it? Look at my other phone. 5:50. We only got 40 minutes until the game starts. So I'll take a quick look at this card out of the box and see what is behind there, if I can. Jeez. There we go. Like they shouldn't be quite that tight. And then after that we'll go, but I'm going to be disconnecting all my stuff from the computer that's no longer working and plugging that into this computer, which also has way more connections available than the other computer did. I mean, there's not even USB, there's USB 2.0 and 3, there is 3.0 on there, but like the very, very first, like 3.0 Gen 1, there's no 3.1 or anything. I really wish I knew what those, there's just 2 USB ports in the bottom and I don't know what they're for, and it's definitely plugged into the bottom PCI Express slot. I'm really not sure what that's for. It was actually moved a little bit as soon as I took that out. So let's see if I can get it out of here now. Does it have a clip? It does. Wow. There is a clip on this, and it's really, really tough to push down. In this bracket. There we go. I lift it up this side. I don't even want, oh, you know what? I know what it is. It's in there, I bet you, because of this. It's giving you the power to the card, and because it's probably flat, it also gives you something back here. I bet you that's what it is, which would be strange, but maybe. Because I can't see any reason you'd need two USB ports down there. It's probably like a custom... Come on. It's so difficult to pull this clip down. There we go. I got it. All right. Now the card will come out. And no, it has nothing to do with that. That's something else. I don't know what that's for. All right. So the card is out. Let me put that down safely. Out of the way. As to not mess with. Card's heavy. Got a nice back plate, that's for sure. So this is really strong. Like, very, very strong. And you got this tape drive sitting in here, and that's got a clip on one side too. So let's take this out. This is it says Vantech. It doesn't say what the hell it's for though. That is very interesting. I don't know what it is. I mean, aside from the fact that it has two USB ports on the rear. Let me get this thing out of here so I could figure it out, because I'm not going to be using this thing anyway. Oh, there's that. I mean, it's cool, but it looks cool, but I don't really care for it. But I do like this case. It's not bad at all. This looks like a 2.5-inch mount, and they didn't say there was a 2.5-inch mount on the case either. But you could definitely mount something right there. It's got thumb screws to go down in as well. So that's all that holds that in. Let's see what the heck this is. But anyway, that's your bracket to make the graphics card stand vertically. Not bad. Pretty strong. But instead of being where it was, it's going to plug in right there on that top slot. So we're looking at, yeah, this card is certainly plugged right into, let me try to gently unplug this because I don't want to mess up whatever this is. But it doesn't say what it is. It just says Vantech model UGT PC 345. No clue. It's got SATA cable going to it, which I'd rather use for... Well, it's got a strip on here, which is interesting. This is a very strong clip here. Undo the thumb screw to take this out. So I should be able to slide this out now. There we go. And let's try to disconnect this last cable. I really have no idea what this is. There we go. It literally just has two USB ports and power and SATA connectors. That is it. Let's see real fast if I can figure this out, if it actually bears any relevance, or if I can repurpose that for a drive. Just want to know what it is. Vantech model UGT dash PC 345. Here it is. 4-port super speed USB 3.0 PCI Express host card with internal 20-pin connector. I wonder if I need this. Yeah, so if it's a host card, it's probably hosting a bunch of stuff in there, which... Huh. I'm not sure if I need this to stay in here or not, though. But that's exactly what it is. I have to check where that cable's going to. He said, right, it's Bluetooth. No, I know it's 3.0, but I was wondering if it's literally just giving me 2 USB ports, which would be kind of silly. Because, like, why would I need that? Because there's a ton of them everywhere. And I wouldn't want to waste a PCI Express slot on just giving me 2 USB ports. You know what I mean? Or if somehow this controller is running back to control other things via USB. Bill says it runs your case's USB ports. Front, side ports. Yeah, that's what I mean, TJ. It does seem odd. I wouldn't do that, but it's a host controller though, so it very well may be powering some other stuff. I mean, I could easily fire this up and then see what ports work and what don't without it in there, or just leave it in there. As of right now, I can leave it in there. It wouldn't be a problem because it just needs one of my slots. So if the graphics card goes in, right, which I can put in the top right now, and we'll see what's left after that, after she goes in. Right? Oh, I got to remove these cages, though. Hang on. Hold, please. Top 2 got to come out for that. I'm hoping that the middle one is left, because if it's not, then this is really a bad idea at that point. Because then I can't put my capture card in along with that USB host controller at the same time. Well, the USB host controller is smaller than the capture card. Ah. So let's see what happens here. Very interesting. I do like the connection here. Oh, I need the next one down, don't I? Yep. It's not the top one, which I should have known, but it's been a long time. It's the 2 below the top. So I need the next one to come out. That's a really... I don't know why they would do that. Because I really didn't want to give up one of these ports. But the beauty of this, anyway, is that I can just change this motherboard. I can do something else with it, or I can see if I can connect this somewhere else to do it, but probably not. They wouldn't have put that in there for no reason. So Looney Tunes says those are just extras. But why make a controller? You know, like it's a host control card. It definitely seems funky to me as to why they would do that, but other than the fact that it would control something, I'll route back and see if this power cable daisy chains to any other power cables or anything. All right, so now, wait a minute. Okay, there we go. I'm like, wait, this isn't going in. Or does it really? This has to fit. Because this cable right here is very tight to it. And that's going to be annoying, but it'll fit. Wow. I think I have to, hold on. Let me find out there was a reason that they did this. Let's unplug that for a second, because that seems to be getting in my way. See if I can get it back on after the card is in. Come on. This is really, really tight. It's because of this back piece here. So close to the motherboard. There's a very little space for this metal to slide through in the back. It's a tight case. I might have to swap the case out. Nope, there we go. And that power cable, though, I'm not too sure how that's going to play. But yep, both ports below are usable now, at least underneath there, and now it is in. And can I get this power cable back in, though? I can't. That sucks. I don't know what cable this is, but I'm sure it's needed. This is a really dumb design, I'll tell you that much. So now at least I know why it was vertical. Happy joy to me. This cable will not go back in here. I need the diagram for this. I haven't done this in so long, but it certainly looks like a power cable of some sort. Yeah, that's gonna suck. But I'm sure I can make it fit. Might need like a right-angled cable to replace this cable. But that's pretty much all I can do with that. It's very interesting. So they did that because they had to, which is really weird. I really feel like it should go in. Like, I felt like it was just not fitting because of, let me try this one more time with this here. See? It feels like it will. But if it doesn't, it is so close. But the very bottom of this cable is blocking me. Well, that's not fun. Well, anyway, I can try to figure this out, maybe with a skinny, short, right-angled cable. Look at the motherboard and see if the center, what did you say? Look up the motherboard, see if the center PCIe slot is 16 lanes. If so, then just put the video card there. I think it was, so yeah, I can look that up too. You have a good point, sir. I have the motherboard manual right here. If it is, then cool. But it's probably not. Let me see what this is. Are they serious? No, that's a fan one, so it's the next one down. This is a USB 3.1 power cable. So this is powering USB. Why is every problem I have a USB problem? According to the motherboard diagram anyway. So I should be able to get a right angle one for that if I have to. I'm sure they sell those. But let me look at the contents here. Yeah, USB. That's what I figured. 3.1 to the front of the case. So it's just powering this here. They must make a right angle cable for that. All right, so 3 times PCI Express X16 slot PCI 1, 3, 5. All right, so if you have a single card only, right? PCIe 1 is giving you 16. They laid this out in a stupid way. You can't put it, it would be PCI 8, which technically you could use, but it's not really advised. If you have dual, it turns the first port into 8, and PCI 3 into 8 also. So what happens to PC? And if you have triple, so apparently you should not use, that's weird. Triple one goes, all right, so it's been so long since I did this. Triple at Gen 3, 8 PCI 5 is Gen 4? Gen 4 by 4. It's showing, this is the Pinnacle Ridge. It's really strange. So it says there's 3 times PCI Express X16 slots, PCI 1, 3, and 5, because this is 2 and 4. I understand that. But these are the 16 slots, so that makes sense. 1, 3, 5. It says single at Gen 3 X16. I get that. That makes sense. If you just put one card here, done. Or is that saying dual graphics card or any card? Because if it's dual, then it says PCI 1 and PCI 3. Oh, so that makes sense. That is 3. Are both 8. And triple, PCI 1 is at 8. It has 8 lanes. PCI 3 has 8 lanes. But that's so weird. So triple at 1, 3, it doesn't mention 5. Oh, Gen 4 by 4 PCI 5. So that might go off the motherboard. Uh, 3.0. Yeah, I gotta check this out. It's been too long, and this X570 is new to me. Yeah, it's Ryzen. Bill says if it's 3 times, then pick any slot. All right, yeah, this, I think you can. I think you guys are correct. Because this Gen 4 PCIe makes it a little confusing. They give extra specs that I'm not used to because the 570 is the first board that has Gen 4. But it really wouldn't matter. It should still contain the same lanes. I think it has the same amount of lanes anyway. Should be 16 lanes, I think. Wireless LAN, rear I/O panel. Yeah, this is... And the other thing is there's no table of contents really in here. It just kind of gives you a little diagram and then you run through it, which is interesting. And this is a heatsink over here. Your M.2s should be under here also. Well, definitely there's one here. because I see a screw and then one there. There's the screws for them. So there's two M.2 slots. But the weird thing was it told me none were available because it said there's only one in it, and on the website it says none are available. So I'm guessing this one, maybe it wasn't available because of the card at the bottom. But it shouldn't be, because this graphics, this motherboard doesn't really have limitations like that. Everything I've seen from it seemed like it should be fine. But who knows? First time messing with Ryzen. So I'm actually kind of glad that I have this now so that I can check out this PCIe Gen 4, this X570 board, before I get one and build it myself completely. But it's a nice little machine regardless. I mean, I'm going to hook it up one way or another. And see. Yeah, I see you have RGB headers there. Fine. There's not much information. I mean, it gives you the diagram and everything, but there is not a ton of... Here we go, PCIe expansion slots. No, so here you go. This is clearly defined here in PCIe slots. That's what I was looking at. So PCIe 1, it's PCI Express 4.0 X16 slot. That's used for PCI Express X16 lane with graphics cards. PCI 3, no, PCI 2, which is the small one, 4.0 one slot. PCI Express X1 lane with cards. So you have these in the middle, the single lanes, but PCI 3 X16 slot. So number 3, which is the second slot down the board, you can do it. It's going to give you an eight lanes. I mean, it can be done, but it's obviously not ideal. And the reason why it's so weird is because they're telling you the differences between Gen 3 and Gen 4 here. So I'm guessing that depending on your CPU, right? So this has to be the Matisse, because this is showing you Gen 4. The rest of them, you have Picasso, Pinnacle Ridge, and Matisse. This is the only one with Gen 4, right? So definitely, yeah, it's a little more confusing, but it won't, yeah, you can't put it in the bottom slot. It definitely won't. Yeah, it probably won't vent the heat well here. You're right. Even in the middle slot, where's it going to go? It's another problem. I think I just fixed this. That's all. This should not be a problem. I should be able to pick up a right-angled cable for this. It doesn't need to come out this far. It's literally stopping it by like 2 millimeters. And it's only because, if you can see this cable from here, it widens out as it goes down. So it literally hits the cable like right there. It goes all the way through and then just taps right there. So it won't be a problem if it's a quick right angle cable here. I can just rewire that. That would be what I end up doing, because by this point you're already hitting the heatsink here anyway. So it can't be hitting that, and you know what I mean? Like, that should be all it takes really to do it. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, I can't fit that in there. It's too small. I need my iFixit tools. I want to take the heatsink off, but I need a very small flathead for that. It looks like the heatsink is just held on with 2 screws. They're M.2 screws, actually. I can see the M.2 drive behind here. I'm curious what they bundled in there for an M.2 drive. But I mean, it's a nice machine. I like the case. You got 220s in the front, just pulling air in, and you got 120 in the rear, blowing air out, and 2 120s on the top going through the Cooler Master AIO. And it's got nice grates on the top all the way across the, and you can lift them. I just saw that now. So you can lift the grate. So that's nice too. It's magnetic. Very nice. Nice touch. Easy. Oh, magnetic. We can just put screws right there. So yeah, it's got postcode. You got a reset power right on there, which is nice. You know, if you try to overclock and you mess something up, you can just hit it. It's been a long time for me, but it'll be fun messing around with it, checking it out. And then you got power supply down here. I don't know which one it is. I'm sure it's probably not something amazingly fantastic, but it just said 80 plus rated, so. But you know, if it was like 80 gold or whatever, they would have specifically said so. Because why not advertise that if you have it? If you guys mess with computers, I fix it. Everything is in here. Whatever I need. Because I want to take the heatsink off and check out the M.2 slots and try to understand why they said I can't use one of them. Wonder if that cable is... No, it's definitely routing to the front as far as I can see. It's probably powering these USB ports right here. That's probably what it's for, which I would like to have powered, but this cable's... I could just change that. I think a right angle cable fixes the problem easily. I need, I believe, this one for this. Yes, precisely. Now these, if you ever got to take these heat sinks off, you got to be careful because these screws are way smaller. Oh, it's actually Loctite on the screw. That's good. These are way smaller, and you can easily drop them down near the power supply, and if it goes through the power supply fan, wherever that may be, it's problematic. But it looks like this is all that's really holding the heatsink on. It's these two. As far as I can tell, I don't see anything else. Oh, nope, I am wrong. One more right here. I'm guessing that's holding it in. Even though, no, it's not really part of the top piece. I don't think I needed to take that out. Gonna take it out just to be sure. But I don't think it's necessary to take this out. That is a much longer screw. But something in the middle. Oh, nope. It does need to come off to come out. All right. Well, if that ain't... What do we got here? The M.2 just came right out too, which is not really what you want to see. But it's just got, what do you call it? The tape on here. The other two are loose. But there isn't, there's three M.2 slots on here. 1, 2, 3 that you could run. Oh, but there's no post for this one. So the bottom one, you have a post for to screw into. What is this? It got stuck to the... I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on this. This is SK Hynix, 1 terabyte NVMe. So now I got to look up the SK Hynix and see if it's better than the one that I got from whatchamacallit. Oh, the transfer tape stuck there too. That is so weird that it like just came out, because you should put this in here. It's very easy to put in. And then it's supposed to, I mean, it does pop out easily when you take out the screw, but it was literally stuck to the back of the heatsink because of the tape. It should have just did that, but I guess the tape pulled it. But it seems fine. Then you just screw it back in. So they're easy to install. And there's another slot here, but there's no... Oh, no, you can post there. Sure enough, you can. Yep. So you can post right there. No, actually... Oh, wait, there's a screw in it. It wasn't screwed through. Wait a second. But the motherboard did not show a screw for that slot at all. So the heatsink doesn't have a screw for that. But you can put something there, and it does have a heatsink for it as well, but it just doesn't hold in. But it would post if I took the screw out. And then you can certainly post to the bottom one here. So there's 3 M.2 slots on here. Absolutely. 3 postable slots. And on the website, it said there's one. No, it said that there was only 1 slot and that none were usable, but there's clearly 3 there. I can't imagine that they would have been disabled for some reason. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I'm not unhappy with this for the price for sure. I just, until I get it running, I won't know, but, you know, for all I know, I plug it in and it doesn't work at all. But I think what I'm going to end up doing for now is I'll put this back basically the way it was, plug all my peripherals into it, make sure the computer works, and probably tomorrow, before I go to work, well, I'll look on Micro Center's website first and see if they have it, if they have a right angle cable for this. If they do, then I will disconnect and try with that, because that's really the only limitation to me getting the graphics card where I want it. But having it where it was is stupid too. It's right here, and the fan is just literally smacking into glass. But I mean, I guess it would rise up the glass and go out the exhaust and out the top, which I guess kind of makes sense. But there's no real airflow happening like that, you know? It seems kind of strange to put it that way to me as well. But whatever. It works. But for the price, you do get whatever you buy. Maingear, they make the case. They got their name on the case too. I can't review the company overall because I have no idea how good or bad this is going to be, or if it's even going to work, because I haven't turned it on yet. But the thermal pad just goes. That's interesting because they use this one to go through the board, and it won't stay closed until you get this on. It's very weird. Like, how would you get the That's probably why it was on. Maybe they did it like that. That's stupid, but like, because the one for this is used to hold this on. This heat. I mean, you don't really need this actually, at all. You could do without this and just leave it open. But sometimes, you know, you do. I see people with Gen 4 that have used Gen 4 SSDs. They have their own heat sinks on them, so they just take this off and they don't use it. But I need a little screw that goes back in there. I don't like how I would have to line this up though. Because you have to like make sure the card is all the way in, line it up, push it back. Otherwise you're not going to get, like, the card's going to stick to the to the thermal pads. It's a little strange, but there it goes, it's in there. Okay. So I can see it there, and it's a little weird. Definitely a little weird. And I did need to take out that one long screw too. So for now, I'm just going to put it back, make sure it fires up as is. I'll do that after the Super Bowl. Just plug a one monitor into it, fire it up. But you see, when I was saying before, the middle one, there's no hole that goes through like the way this one does. But the bottom one, Actually, that's not the same screw either. So that's weird. This is a different screw than the one that you would post the SSD to. And it's not lined up, which I find very strange considering the top one is there. I got to move it a little bit, I guess. Yep. I broke my #1 rule. Never fully tighten something on a PC until all the screws are in. That's a good rule for everything. Furniture, computers, doesn't matter. Because then if it's not lined up, you're done. So leave them loose so you can move stuff around slightly. But that basically shows most of the machine. I could take off the other side panel, but the Super Bowl is about to start, I'm sure, by now. Somebody type what time it is on the chat for me so I could take a quick look. Anyone? Please rise for the national anthem, Carl said. Oh yeah, 6:28. All right, guys. So listen, I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys, enjoyed that and got to check that out a little bit. But I don't know. Check out Maingear. I will not endorse them until I see that this PC runs as it should, and the temperatures and everything are all under control once I get it going. But initial thought, case quality is very nice, aluminum, very well, really good, really good. So you guys enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm going to go enjoy the Super Bowl, and I will mess with this after the Super Bowl. Am I going to hop back on after the Super Bowl? I mean, maybe if you guys want like me to like mess with this while you're online, I guess I could do that. I have to charge up my iPhone though. But it's been a long time. I literally haven't like done anything like what I just did since like 2006. It's not hard, but it's a little different with this Gen 4 PCI Express. I gotta read up a little on that and see exactly what I can do. But I think no matter what, I need that graphics card in the top slot because otherwise it's not gonna adequately let the heat out. So it is what it is. All right, guys. Go watch Super Bowl. Should be a great game. I have decided that I am going to root for the 49ers just because Jerry Rice, Joe Montana were like gods to me when I was a kid. But I will not be upset if the Chiefs win. I love the Chiefs team too. I think they're both great teams. What I really hope for is a great game right now. So whoever wins, may the best team win. And may you all enjoy the game. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. And maybe we'll talk after the game. If not, I'll mess with this tonight, get back at you guys after I mess with it, and we'll see what's up. Stay supreme, guys. Peace out. I'm out of here.